Hello, welcome back to part 3 of our scene coloring breakdown series featuring the Lovin from the Coven stamp set at Sweet November Stamps. I'm Amy. I'm the co-owner and illustrator for Sweet November Stamps, and we have been slowly working our way through this spooky cute scene featuring this kind of modern day goth type little witch girl with her potion bottles and cauldron of who knows what. Last week we completed the wood floor, and this week we are going to be doing the wall behind her. I'm going to be using some BV, the blue violet markers. Great for Halloween, but also I thought they would play really nicely with the flooring where we added in some of those E70s that kind of have that purple undertone. So they'll just vibe really nicely with each other, I think. So to that end, let me start grabbing out some BV markers. I'm going to start with BV34. And I'm just going to start laying in my color. We'll probably be giving her this kind of a wallpaper look. And we might even play around. Let's see, maybe over on this side where we have a little bit more room. We'll do some kind of peeling wallpaper. That'll be fun. A little extra touch there. But for now, I'm just gonna get kind of my base color down. Now, I'm gonna be bringing this color in, but I'm gonna leave kind of a halo of white for now around anything that I want to be glowing, and that includes our vapor coming from the cauldron. And you know, it's just a rough in of color, so I'm not going really smooth or perfect yet. I'm just using this to kind of map out what parts of the wall are going to look darker and what parts are going to look lighter because of the glow from these objects and how much glow they're going to cast, how far out it kind of goes. So that's just all I'm telling myself right now with this application of color. I'm just figuring that all out and giving myself kind of a roadmap to work from as I, clean this up and make it nice and smooth and pretty. But for now, just a little roughing it in. Like so. And then just kind of carefully work around our little characters here. That's where you'll see me go more towards, using the tip of the marker rather than the side. When I get in close and I need a little bit more detail work. So again, leaving a little bit of white space because we've got the glow from that potion in her hand too. Okay. Now over here, like I mentioned, let's have a little bit of fun. And let's create some kind of peeling wallpaper. Okay. I'm going to go to my lighter BV31, and I'm just going to kind of sketch in a little kind of wonky triangle. And then give it a little rough edge. Like so. And I'm going to want to go back to the wood grain, some of those wood colors that I have down below here. So we'll imagine it's an old kind of haunted house. So I'm going to, that E43 that I did a base of, I'm going to get some of that showing underneath. I'm going to come in, I think we'll skip the 49, we'll go 47. And we'll do little horizontal spaces in between the slats of wood that make up our wall. So they'll be a lot narrower. Like so. And then I'm also going to do a drop shadow, especially under this side, since it's blocking the light from the glow of our cauldron over there a little bit more. Pull that out with the E44. And then I'll come in with E74. Back to that 43. I'll let that dry just for a second, and I'm going to reinforce the little space between the slats. And that shadow. There we go. So now I'll go back to my BV34, and then I'll just help define that kind of torn edge with it. Same on this side. Okay. So there we've roughed in basically our wall back behind our character. I'm going to come in next with some BV25. And back up here in the corners. And I'm going to start taking my time a little bit more and working a little bit slower so that the marker has time to really saturate the cardstock. I'll start getting smoother blends that way. I think I'm going to try to kind of work this in sections so I can take advantage of the ink while it's wet in the cardstock. So I'm going to come in with BV29 here in the corners, along there. Actually, I'll keep that out. We'll do some tip to tip, picking up the 29 with the 25. And our darkest colors are always going to be further away from all our little light sources. That's why I wanted to take care of them first, so I could really picture, you know, how far in I want to pull these darker colors. And we will start eating into those big wide white halos. They're not going to be as in your face as they are like right now initially. That was just kind of our rough end. That was just to kind of, so we can, it's kind of like when I color clouds, where I always leave more space, more white space than I know I'm going to need, because I know I'm going to, you know, kind of eat into that space with my colors. Let's use our BV34 to pick up our 25 now. And this is where, you know, the quicker you can work, the easier it's going to be on your, you for blending, getting a nice smooth blend. That's why I'm kind of breaking this down into left side, right side, that I'm tackling them each kind of individually. Kind of keep working until I'm happy with the amount of, you know, white space that's being left. All right. Gonna come in with that BV31. Pick up the BV34. Continue to soften and narrow our halo of light. And then these, you know, as I'm softening that edging, you'll notice I'm working kind of in circular motions now in the wet, where the area is wet. So taking advantage of that blending, really kind of softening the edges. We'll see a little bit in the center here. Okay. Now from that BV31, let's go, I think I'm going to pull out B60. It's a blue, but it's got a purple tone to it, and it's very light. That's just really going to soften even more our kind of glow. And I think what I'm going to do too, so with that little potion being our kind of blue-green one, so I'm laying in this B60 to really soften those edges while it's nice and juicy. I'm going to hit that glow around that bottle with a little bit of BG11. And that's because I'm working wet on wet. It's really, that ink is just going to beautifully just kind of bloom out all on its own. And up here, a little layer of that B60. And while that's wet, we'll come in with a little bit of VO1 that we used in our purple potion, and just let that B60 do its thing, pulling it out. We might have to help it a little bit along. This is a little bit darker, so I might want to just knock it back just a touch around the edges. But look how nicely that just kind of pulls that color into that kind of glow effect over there. How cool. We'll do the same with the Cauldron Vaporers. Where we're gonna really wet that, and that's where you want to be working with a nice and juicy marker. So we're gonna soften our edges. And before we give that time to dry, we're gonna come in with the YG Quad and just let that B60 kind of pull it out. And do its thing. Heck, I might even do a little tip to tip. Get a little bit of that fluorescent glow into this outside glow. Just trying to work quickly here. Okay, that looks good. And we'll do the same on the other side of the room. We just got to work down from our dark to light first. So here we go. One half of the room down. One half to go. Coming in with the BV25. And again, take my time a bit more, letting that color sit and saturate. With each brush stroke, we're smoothing out that background. I'm using the side of the marker. You can see these nice wide brush strokes going down. Reinforcing our torn wallpaper down here. As you get these darker colors, it's really going to start looking like what we intend it to be instead of just weird random lines. We start to really get that sense of what's going on. Okay. BV29. Oh, that's really tacky too. These darker saturated colors. I gotta be careful. Yeah, I haven't cleaned it in a while, so no wonder it's acting up on me, but I think we'll still be able to manage. Marker maintenance, people. Be better at it than I am. You'll be happier with yourself and not having to force yourself to get creative. There we go. Okay. Pull that out with our BV25. Pick up. The 29 with the 25. Okay. Just concentrating on, making the outside edge of my room a lot darker as we get further away from our light sources. I'm going to be much more generous with these darker markers. Still using tip to tip. Pick up some of that 29. Pull it down. Let it fade to the 25. Now, bring back in BV34, pick up the BV25 tip to tip. Same process as we did on the other side of the wall, where we start creeping in closer to our glowing objects. And then nice thing about alcohol markers, even though we kind of stop there in the middle of the card, as those inks get resaturated, we get that smooth, seamless blend. So can't hardly even tell where we stopped and started. We'll just make it all work back together like we colored it all in one go. Gotta love alcohol markers for that. So I know I mentioned it, maybe in the first week video, I forgot, but I am working on Copic Expressive Cardstock. And I've got this cut down to an A2, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, card front size. If anybody's curious and skipped the earlier video. I'm going to start eating into the white halo around this guy a little bit more. And into here a little bit more. And I'm not gonna worry about like coloring around the little sparkle dots. We'll be going over those with a white pen at the very end, so don't have to worry about those. BV31, picking up the BV34. But it really is all about planning ahead, utilizing that white cardstock underneath. Anytime you want to have a really specific spotlight kind of light source, it's not difficult, it just takes a little planning, a little thinking ahead. Come in with the B60, very light, kind of purple toned blue, and it's nice and juicy, so it's going to get that cardstock really wet and saturated, and we're going to take advantage of that once again while it's all wet with our BG11 on this one, since it's a blue-green potion. And we're gonna just drop our ink in and let that wet cardstock take that ink and just kind of pull it and blend it out on its own. Makes it super easy on us. And you get that cool kind of halo glow effect. Come back in with the 60, kind of smooth the edge there. Awesome. Same up here. Take that B60 all around. And while that's wet, come back in with our YG quadruple zero, picking up a little bit of that fluorescent FYG1. We'll quickly lay that glow in all the way around our bottle. Cool, 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 cool. Okay. Now, got my B60. I'm going to add a little bit of shading to where the paper's kind of curling on itself here. And I think I'll even bring in a little bit of E81. Just kind of reinforce that. There we go. Okay, finishing touches on our wall. One of the easiest things you can do to add some interest in patterning to a wallpaper background is grabbing a ruler. Let's see. All right, so I'm just going to kind of find the center of the card roughly. And then I think in this case, for the scene that we're doing, I'm going to go with silver. And I've got a silver gel pen from Pear Blossom Press. And I'm just going to run my pen. And you want to pick it up. You know, you don't want to go through your characters, and I don't want to go through my glow either. So I'll just let it kind of stop where it hits either one of those. But we just kind of bring it down. Okay. And then I just, you know, line it up on the other side. And then we'll just do the same thing. This one will be easier because we're not having to stop and start. Actually, I think, let's see, I think I got a shorter T-square here. Yeah, I do. That'll make it easier. That'll make it easier. Not gonna worry about it getting a little off up there though. Again, it's a Halloween scene. A little wonkiness here and there ain't gonna hurt anything. Continue lining that up. And then I also, once I have those in the width of my ruler, I usually like to kind of find the center with each line and just do it again, and it'll give me narrower lines in my wallpaper. There we go. Got our silver lines running through our old wallpaper there. Okay, so there we go. We created a lovely dark spooky wallpaper for our scene. We even got a little tear in the wallpaper itself. I might even, let me grab my BV29 real quick, just to kind of, like the tear is gonna kind of keep creeping up. There we go. There. Awesome. There we go. There, very nice. Okay. All right, so that is it for this installment of our spooky cute Halloween scene featuring this adorable witch from the Lovin from the Coven stamp set at Sweet November Stamps. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll be back next week where we will tackle her skin and hair. Until then, stay crafty, my friends. Bye.